you doing?
Having the time of my life. How about you? Went out. I said I'm having the time of my life. How about you?
Doing good, doing good, doing good.
So you recently elected youngest black mayor in the history of the United States of America. How does one
Yes, sir.
internalize such a distinction?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
That's all good. How do you internalize that? How do you make sense of that for yourself?
Um, I mean, honestly, being the youngest black uh mayor is, it's it's feel good, being that to be an inspiration to others, not only to uh older people, but to more to the young people around the country.
A lot of people might ask why you, why do it. I don't see that. I see why not you. What do you say to those folks who do say, why you? Why go from being the class president at your high school to the mayor of a town, but a town nonetheless?
Well, it all started in high school with the Student Government Association, and we made a difference not only in the school district but in the community. And within that organization, we played a huge role in the school and in the community. And that organization drove me here, Mary Lakeville, Arkansas. And I just feel like if you have a heart of making a difference, I mean, you should go for it, regardless of what people tell you.
You sound to me like a young man who's raised by a very caring family. Can you tell us a bit about your family?
Yeah, as I was when I was growing up, I always loved and cared for people. I wasn't raised by a single mother. I was raised by a village of different mentors and keys that guided me in the right direction, and I was disciplined as I was growing up, and I'm very grateful for them to help keep me on track of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to pursue.
When I was in high school, I wanted to be the mayor of my hometown. That was my
Hmm.
goal. Didn't work out for me, but it's worked out for you. You ran in part on a campaign of public safety. What's that mean?
Right. Public safety, it means, with us, we don't have a 24/7 police department. And so here with the our crime is have decreased some, but early this year our crime was sky high with a lot of shootings, a lot of shooting and killing. And now, as it done decrease, we want a 24/7 police department. We don't want to have to rely on the county to come 30 minutes, and we don't, to come 30 minutes to Earl. By the time they get there, whoever committed the crime is gone. And so we want to have our own police department that's responding quickly and effectively to these calls.
You're an 18-year old, and you're in college, yes?
Yes, sir.
What is it that you think that our generation, people older than you, me, I'm in my 50s, I'm 53. What do you think we don't understand about your generation?
Well, I feel like older people, not all of them, but some of them feel like,
That's all right. You don't hurt
well,
my feelings.
yeah, yeah. So, but most of them see us young people as a statistic of, selling drugs, going to jail, and shooting people and stealing cars, which that's their right to see that way. But you have some young kids like me that's, getting they're stepping out there, getting into those offices, want to make a difference, and it's so hard for them because of what the other people see us as. And so, like, I just tell them, just give us a chance to step in those offices to make a difference. Even though we already have a bad reputation uh, for selling those drugs, killing people in jail, and shooting, we have some people that might just want to do something great. And so, just give us a chance to step out there on faith and do what's right for the community.
What did your election tell you about your community?
My election told me about my community, that my community was want that wanted they wanted change. They want change. They came out, they showed out, and that's what they got. And so, come January, the foundation has been laid, and work is going to begin.
when you say work is going to be done, convince somebody who doesn't live in Earl why they should move to Earl.
Well, Earl is
Maybe you
Earl
want to keep
is
Earl
yeah,
Town.
yeah. Earl is a community. We're a community oriented community where we just one big family. We all when someone is in need, we all come together as a big family to help out. It's we don't have as much, but we're surrounded by a lot of agriculture. Agriculture. I think I'm saying that wrong, but farmland where they grow cotton, beans, and cotton. And so Earl is a big family town where we all come together. When somebody needs help, we come together to help out.
It would sound to me, just by the poise that you have and the old soul that you seem to present, that you are Gen Z, but it sounds like you were raised in a Southern church, a praying church. Am I wrong?
Well, you're right. You know, when I was growing up, I was in church, still do today. Went to church every Sunday. Some Sundays I didn't want to go, but I had my 18s ready up there, you know, you got to go to church. And we went every Sunday. And, you know, and from this day forward, I just been going to church and giving God all the glory and the praise. And I'm very grateful for that because they knew what needed to happen.
I got a
But I didn't see it
17.
at that time, but they did.
Okay, that's fair. That's what's supposed to happen with grown people. You're supposed to listen to them sometimes. So I got a
All right.
17-year-old upstairs who's a college freshman, and I got a 20-year-old upstairs who's a college junior, and they may burst down here because they do what they do. They get turned up as kids. Talk to me about how you're going to bridge the gap between being a young man, which you are, and being expected to run a city or a town, I should say.
Well, me personally, I don't do like hanging out and doing different things like that. I mainly just just work and help and care for people. And with running a city and going to college at the same time, which I'll be doing my college online, so I can do my college work at my own pace within a timeline. And with running a city 24/7, I don't say just an 8 to 5 job, but 24 city. You know, finding out what are those priorities that our city needs and focusing on the needs of the city and whatever that comes my way. I don't say it's easy. I say it's gonna be hard and challenging, and I don't take anything for easy. I'd rather for things to be harder than be easy. So
Did you think you were going to win?
this what I did. When I initiated my campaign in January, I was and amongst my team, I always wanted to work. I worked my opponents, and then I did just that. I worked my opponents, did events, water drive, food giveaways, walked in the community, bicycle rides. I did a big old event for Halloween, big old event for breast cancer awareness month, and I just did what needed to be done.
I know they told me you had 10 minutes, and we're pulling up on that 10-minute mark. I'll finish here. Who's the politician inspires you?
Well, I don't necessarily have a politician that inspired me to be in the position I am today. But as I was growing up, I always looked at Dr. Martin Luther King, and I actually kind of used him when I was in high school, when I was doing what I did for high school, because um, I guess as we go back, when Dr. Martin Luther King was when he was always told, no, Dr. Martin Luther King didn't give up for fighting for civil rights and fighting for the people. And so I used him a lot because when I was always told no, I kept on digging to find a yes, and I always found that yes. And so I used him a lot and use him a lot in everything I'm doing. Just in case somebody when tough things get harder and people say no, I go back and look at those videos that he did back then and the ways he did things, and I kind of put them into perspective now. When somebody tells me no, I continue to keep going. I keep on fighting because I'd rather fight than not do nothing.
I appreciate that. One thing I refuse to do is to look at you as a young brother and let your youth be seen as a crutch. If when a man stands up, he is a man. And if you could go out and fight in a war for our country, then you could stand up and run one of our communities. Your being black is
Yes, sir.
only something that adds to it. And so I'm proud of you as a young brother. I want you to know
I,
that
thank you.
throughout
Thank you.
the country, you're welcome. Throughout the country, there are folks pulling for you who want to see you do right and do well. And more than a few are older than you, but some are younger. It matters not that they are younger or older, but just that they have your back. So, young blood, just know that that what you feel behind you are some hands behind you pushing you forward. That's the wind in your sail. And I appreciate what you do and what you're about to do. I don't know how it's going to work out for you. Nobody does. But at the very least, right, you could say that community where 25% of the community is poor, which makes it a very poor community, the grown folks who
Right.
did it before didn't necessarily do an amazing job. So your community has called you to serve, and you've answered that call. So I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Is there anything that you'd like to say? Again, they told me you had 10 minutes, and I'm respectful of people's time. I've kept you 3
I mean,
minutes more
you're
than.
good. You're good.
All right. Well, then we go.
I said my team 10 minutes, but when the conversation is so good, I mean, I just can't. I just continue to go on because it gets so good. And I was on a conversation last night with some young men across the country. Um, but it was like an hour and a half, a little longer. But I was grateful to that conversation because you have people that's actually out there that want to do better and want to do great things, but they just don't know the how of it because of what people tell them. Because like when I was running, people told me I was too young, I didn't know anything. I just graduated high school, but I beg to differ. Because I'm a pretty much a guy to go to church and different things like that. Because when I ran, I wrote a bit. I always refer to this verse, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain. And so I wrote the vision, I made it plain, and I waited. And God appointed, he came through. He's on time God. He came through. He blessed me with the mayor of Earl. Because when people tell me I'm too young, I don't know anything, I just graduated high school, my mind, I'm like, we got to step in those places one day. We got to do it. We have to get in those positions to take over as young people. And not only in our community, but I mean, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be in politics, but it's time for us to step up and get in those areas to make a difference.
Where else do you think young people's voices need to be heard that it's not being heard?
I mean, everywhere. I mean, the main part is in politics. In those areas where you can't make a decision for young people and you don't know what's going on. We can speculate all day, but if we're not there physically with them going through what they're going through, we'll never know. And so those areas, young people need to be brought to the table. I feel not just as like in cities, but on different boards across the globe. Those young people need to be in those areas and need to be brought to the table so their voice can be heard.
You bring forward a good point because many politicians in particular use the backs of young people to win elections, and then when they win, forget that y'all were the ones knocking on doors out there, handing out flyers out there, doing the hard work. So again,
Right.
I say it's high time that young people be put in a position. Anybody who sees your success as a threat is more the issue than you. So what do you say to those older people who you are now in charge of? I mean, you're the boss of these folks, and you got to get them to buy in. How you gonna get them to buy in, little bro?
Well, I use different tactics. If I can't get them to buy in, I go to their grandchildren. I get their grandchildren, their children to buy them in that way. Because most older people don't see our vision the way we see it. And they're just life. Everybody not gonna see your vision. But if you can get those people that's close to them, to get them to talk to them about the vision that I have, most of them buy in. And that's most of them have done in Earl. If I can't get to them, I go to their children or their grandchildren, they buy in. Because they're gonna buy into their grandkids, their children about great ideas. That's what I do. If I can't get them the way I want to get them, I just go to the grandchildren and the children.
Well, one of the things we're going to have to work on down in Earl is we're going to have to get y'all some good cell phone coverage because we're struggling right now. But what I want to
Yeah,
do
most definitely.
is I want to reintroduce, because some folks have joined us since we've been on. This is Mayor-elect Jaylen Smith. Mayor-elect Jaylen Smith from Earl, Arkansas. He's going to come back in a second. Mayor-elect Jaylen Smith from Earl, Arkansas. And he is the youngest African-American to ever be elected mayor in the United States of America. In the history of the country, no one has ever been younger who's been elected mayor of a city. And so as such, we've taken the time. He's falling off. He'll be back in a minute. He's taken the time to have a conversation with us really about the work that he as a young mayor is doing and what he expects for his community. If you're joining us late, you will see that in a moment. I'm going to invite him back. Mayor Jaylen Smith, there he is. There he is. If he looks young, he is. He was last year. I guess you won 2 elections in 12 months then, right? Because you were president of your high school in 2022, and now you're mayor of your city in 2022. So you 2 for 2. As a I heard you say, now we get into politics for a minute. As a Democrat, I heard you say that you actually want to increase the police presence. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Well, across the globe, we're in an area of police shortage. We don't have enough police officers. A lot of people getting out of the police business, but we want to create a way that we can create more police presence here within Earl. Not if we don't like with our officers, the county, the state police, and different agencies, we want to get a police presence because we know that we can't stop crime. But if those officers are present and being more present and being more involved and driving around more, basically more police presence, those crimes will de-escalate and decrease. But we can't stop all crime. But those officers work together and be more present in the
So
community.
many people
Those
from
crimes will
Generation
decrease.
Z, well, but in 2022, more than a few folks from Gen Z, many of whom likely were Democrats, were saying things like defund the police. How do you feel about that?
Well, me personally, the way I see, it may sound crazy, but Democrat and Republican, it's crazy how the two parties are, because Democrat and Republican, we're all trying to achieve the same goal, but we're just trying to achieve it differently, And me personally, the way I feel it, the way I feel, if you're all about bettering your community, your state, and the United States, you will do whatever it takes to better your community, the state, and the United States. Because I really see it that way. I really see it as we want to make a better. Everybody wants the same thing, but we just want about it differently. And like me, I wouldn't defund the police because why would I defund the police? Then something happened to me, who I'm gonna call?
Right.
The police.
You are going to call the police. You mentioned
So
that there's been an increase in crime. And again, I want some folks who may not recognize the young brother with whom I'm speaking. His name is, he is Jaylen Smith. He is Mayor-elect Jaylen Smith of Earl, Arkansas. He's not too far from Memphis, as they tell me. Is that correct? So I'm presuming 30
right.
minutes.
Yes, sir. Not too far, like 30 minutes.
That there's more than a few people in Earl who can cook, because I feel like everybody in Memphis can cook. So, I've heard you mention that there has been an increase in crime. What do you think led to this increase in crime?
Well, two parties, and our increase of crime back here in January and sometime in 2021. Two families got into it over a little about over money with money involved. And so these two parties were just, bumping heads and different things like they shooting at each other, killing some people in the other person's family. And so it was just those two parties. And then also we didn't have a functioning police department. We had officers, but we didn't have a functional 24/7 police department. And so with that, now as time has passed, those crimes have decreased because one of those parties are in jail, and crime has decreased. It's not like it has been, and we're very grateful that crime has decreased. Um, and we're in a great standard of we're in a great
Okay, that's good.
stable condition. I
So
say that.
you're clearly going to need community support. You won the election, but now you have to govern. Two very different things. So you've won the election,
Right.
and now you have to come up with strategies
Mm-hmm.
to bring together the community. I like one of your strategies, which is if you can't get the older people to do it, you're going to work with their grandchildren. Who are some of the organizations that you feel like you're going to have to connect to build on the sense of pride that clearly already exists in Earl?
The main
Okay.
part is the churches. That's the churches. Because everybody in Earl goes to church. We have like about probably 25. We got
Oh
more churches than
no,
you
I
think.
believe you.
But it's gonna the church is gonna be a big piece, and we can get all the pastors to come together. It'll be better. And we get all the pastors together, get them on board of what we're trying to do, and to spread their church of what the city vision is, and get everybody to work together as a team. Because like I say, I've been telling people, it's not only gonna take the mayor, not only gonna take the city council, but it's gonna take the people of Earl working together with the city council and the mayor collectively to move Earl forward. And so, we're getting the churches involved, meeting with pastors, and getting the pastors on board so they can spread the vision of what we're trying to do to Earl to their members, and so they can get them on board. Because I like
Of
for
the
the community to be more involved
25
than
or
they are
so
now.
churches that you have in Earl, how many of them do you already have on board?
I have a few on board. I will be doing sometime next week whenever after I get sworn in, I'll be meeting with some pastors, with all the pastors in Earl about the vision, what we're trying to do. I have a few on right now, but the goal is to get every pastor that pastor a church in Earl on board with our vision of
One
what
thing
we're
that
trying to do
I've
to move
learned
Earl
over
forward.
the years is that while they may worship one God, they do not always agree. And one of the most challenging groups
Right.
I have ever sought to organize has been pastors, uh, driven by their calling and in some
Yeah.
cases overcome by ego. It can be very, very complicated to bring them together. How do you plan to elicit their opinions in the establishment of a community vision?
Um, that's a good question. With them, because everybody worship. You got big pastors that worship. Don't worship God. Everybody worship God, but some of them be a different way. But to get them to watch what I'm trying to see, it's another tactic that I use as well. If I can't get them,
Okay.
I go to their wife and talk to their wife, and meet with their wife and see. Well, we're really trying to move forward. We're really trying to move forward, but I just can't get the support of your husband. If you could help me, in the kind of way to persuade him to get on board to what we're trying to do, it'll be so amazing. And so that's another way that I'll be going to get ways to get pastors
One
on board.
thing that is clear is that when a mayor is effective at bringing together the religious community, they can be successful. But what changes the fate of a community is often the ability to bring jobs to the community. What's the major industry in Earl right now?
Right.
Where do people work?
Well, we have a school here in Earl. We actually have a school here within the city. That's some big old major job opportunity there. That school, and so within this going into 2023, We want to find opportunities not only for our older people but for our youth. It's actually I'm actually partnering with like two or three work programs that actually gonna come within the community, give the youth jobs. You know, they have opportunity to apply for jobs. They can pick anywhere they want in the city they can work, and they start working in the school, working for the city in the city hall, working in the police department, the street department, the water department. They can pick within that program. They can pick any place in there, like business wise, they can work. And so we want to partner with them for our young people to keep them with jobs. Then also down the line, we want to get more working industries within the city so people can have jobs. Like we have a lot of people that can work like in Memphis, West Memphis. We want to bring those same jobs here within the rural community. It's not gonna happen overnight, but as long as we work to get those people here, I think
I want
I
to
believe
again.
it'll come.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Again,
Go
we
ahead.
just
You were
have
gonna
to.
say.
No, I was just want to say, again, you just have to write the vision, make it plain, and
I
just
want to
wait
remind
patiently.
people
Wait
who are
patiently.
joining us literally from all over the country in different parts of the world. I've seen a couple of folks from overseas joining us. You're watching No Dumb Questions, and while he could be one of my students, and I would be super proud if he were, he is not. You're looking at the mayor-elect, 18-year-old Jaylen Smith from Earl, Arkansas. That's Earl, Arkansas, where he has become the youngest or woman black to ever be elected mayor of a city in the United States of America. And so what we're doing is we're talking about what he's going to do to govern. We're not going to keep tripping over the fact he is his age. He's older today than he was yesterday, and tomorrow he'll be older than he was today. That's not what we're talking about. It's game time now. This young brother has the opportunity to do something spectacular, and we want to do what we can to shine the light on him, as the song says, and we want to create the opportunities that are necessary. So if you could speak to people who were interested in coming to create jobs in Earl, which is about 30 minutes south of Memphis, so you could actually still work in Memphis and live in Earl, what would you tell them? What is it that they're going to see
Mhm.
when they get to Earl? Not just today, but what's the future look like?
Well, the future of Earl looks really bright. We have more housing, a cleaner community, a safer community, more jobs and more businesses within the city of Earl, more activities for the youth, more activities for our elderly, and just a nice, best quality of living town. I see happening to
Mayor-elect
Earl in our
Smith,
future.
you got to listen to somebody. Are the people who you reach out to for the wisdom and direction that you need?
Well, I reach out to different mayors. Throughout my campaign, I went and shadowed different mayors across the state of Arkansas. And I reach out to those mayors to call about some guidance and direction about different things that I don't know. I call on them and they tell me and they give me wisdom. Um, I even have some mayors told me, you have more wisdom than I have. Not, and I'm just 18. And so, and I call on them to get wisdom from them and get guidance from them because I believe the key of politics is listening. The key of politics is
I
listening to
would
others.
agree with you there. Another key is after you listen, do what they say they need you to do. You've
Right.
made a point to avoid over promising and under delivering. You recognize the necessity of the community to work together to create opportunity. You're smart enough to know not to take responsibility for everything that's going to go right or wrong. When you think about a city, I don't know how much you've traveled in the 18 years that you've been on this earth, but when you think of a city that you'd like to emulate some of the successes of, what are some of those cities?
Um. Well, I haven't really traveled much on 18 years. I've
Okay.
been on like two cruises, like to
Okay.
Florida, New Orleans, and been out of the country. But I haven't really like for me to look. Um, I haven't really been into a city that's this depth that has been from poverty. and has grown. Because when I go into cities, I look for like key things like how's the school system there, how's the police department there, how's the how what's best qualities that they have as a city. But I haven't saw a city that has been in poverty and has improved
Yeah,
yet.
that is
I
one of the
haven't saw that yet.
challenges because sometimes what happens, or oftentimes what happens in a community, is once it becomes seen as poor, it begins to internalize poverty and doesn't always see itself as
Hmm.
growing. There are very few people who experience poverty the same, but one of the similar experiences of poverty is it gives the impression that the world is flat and that if you go too far outside of your neighborhood, it's unsafe. You mentioned that fortunately, um, the crime has steadied, and you also mentioned that you're an agricultural community that has grown cotton, among other things. What were the big businesses? I don't want to say when you were growing up, because with all due respect, at 18, you're still growing up. But what have you been told were some of the big businesses that used to be in play in Earl?
Well, from what I was told and doing my research on the history of Earl, Earl had a lot of good businesses, factories, car lots, movie theaters, grocery stores. Like Earl had an entire lot of business back in the day. Earl was a Earl about the 1950s. Earl was the first largest city in the county of Crittenden County, Arkansas, and now we the third largest. And so Earl back in the day, Earl had a lot of businesses. It
Was
was
there a
growing
big business
back
that
in the day,
closed
and as
where
time,
you lost the population?
yeah, we had a factory. We had a big old factory here. I'm not sure what was the name of that factory, and we lost a lot of population from that
Have
factory
you
as well
talked?
when it
You
closed.
sound to me to be a new aged Democrat, someone who understands the necessity of taking care of the community while at the same time understanding the necessity of law and order. Um, would you, from a business perspective, have you thought about what you want to do to attract businesses to your community, tax breaks, things of that nature?
Well, I haven't too much looked mess with I want to mess with our taxes as of right now because due to how we stand and we're not a and we're kind of living in a poverty time right now. But what I want to do to attract businesses, first I got to get the community clean and have to get those abandoned houses tore down. We got to get new houses up and we have to get those things taken care of because when the businesses come to town, I'm not only looking at the police department, they're looking at how the school system is, they're looking at how good how clean the community is. And so
It ha-
I'm sorry,
it happens.
my bad, my
It
lights
happens.
went
It
out.
happens. I'm
I'm
with you.
sorry.
Keep going.
Yeah, but looking at those different those key things, key factors, so we have to. I want to get those things in order first before we
You
look at something
so
else.
have you thought of, for instance, some of the abandoned and or dilapidated buildings? What are some of the plans to address that? Do you plan on eminent domain? Are you talking about offering those up to private individuals? If they come in, they could own it under these conditions. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking that getting those partner with private sectors to come in once we get it from the city to get those the dilapidated houses tore down and get new business. I mean, new housing up because that's another thing we face in the community as well.
Are you
Housing.
saying that you have a large homeless challenge, or are you saying that there are not enough new homes going up, or both?
Enough new
Okay.
homes going up.
And if I understand what you're saying, Earl is a small town that still feels like a small town. Is that what I hear you saying? And so,
Yes,
as
sir.
a mayor who's attempting to attract people to the community, you probably want to sell them on what it is about the community that makes them want to come. Is that correct? I think you hit mute. Yeah, that's all right.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry. My phones are going crazy. Since the lights and stuff are going out, so everybody ringing my phone. But yeah, but yeah,
So, what is it that you are most concerned about? You lay your head down at night because you really are the mayor, brother. Like you really are him. You're that guy.
yeah, listen. Well, my main concern when I lay down at night, I don't think of, I do think of myself and my family here, but I also think of the community. I want to make sure that I want to make sure everybody is feeling safe and secure here within the city of Earl. And so every night, I want to make sure that we have some kind of we have officers here every night for our people when they call that they know they're coming. They're not coming in 30 minutes. They come within 2 seconds or two
So
minutes.
Earl has.
And so I want to make sure that
So sorry to interrupt you. Earl has just under 2,000 residents. 25% poverty.
right.
How many police officers would you say you need in order to make your community feel safer?
Well, we have our budget and our budget. We have six off. We six, but to me personally,
Okay.
I say at least about 10. Even though we're a small town, but I still say 10. You have to even it out, 5 and 5. Um, you have to because there'll be more. More. We have more officers on duty. Not just one on duty at a time, but like maybe two, or however we see fit. But just to make sure that every shift is covered. Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday,
When
24/7,
you
7 days
go
a week.
or to church, wherever you go in Earl, after people get over the fact that you've won, because we're past that now, got to govern. What are they telling you that they want from you? No, now
Uh, do
I
you
said
say
now
the
that you have to
governor
govern.
or?
Now that you have to govern, what are the people
Okay,
saying that they want from you as their mayor? You already won. Time to govern.
right. Those basically those same everything I ran on my platform, they want to see happen. Public safety, getting the city clean, tearing down abandoned and dilapidated housing, putting up new housing, public transportation, grocery store. I make sure our streets are fixed, sewer systems are up and properly secure and up and running. So they want to see those things in place, but they want to see public safety more than all those things right now because they want to make sure that they're safe every
Public
night when they
safety
lay their head
clearly
down.
is a big issue. Difficult to attract a grocery store. Do you have a grocery store?
Hmm. We don't have a grocery store, but we did a couple of years
Is
ago. We
there
did.
some sort of event, some sort of happening? Are there things in Earl that are distinctly Earl when people think about, because it's going to be known forever as the city that was progressive enough to elect the youngest black man in American history. So you got that coming. So it's official. You already made the history book.
Right.
But short of turning your own home into a museum of Earl, what is it that you would do to attract people to your shores, so to speak, so they come and get to see what it is that your community has in store for you, for them, I should say?
Well, the things that to seeing the things that I read on to seeing those things are in place and to show the people that we're actually working to achieve our goals, even though they may not happen within the 4 year term, but just to let the people know that we're working. We're working to achieve those goals. We're working to find solutions for those issues that we're facing. And we're not a community that give up. We're a fighting community. Everything that we want to put in, see
I've
happen,
never
we
seen a
will see it
person
happen.
succeed who didn't earn their share of haters. How you dealing with the haters?
Well, that's just motivation to me, honestly. It's just motivation to prove them wrong.
In your senior class.
And
So
my
of the
senior class is
43
43.
seniors, what are many of them doing? Because one of them's mayor, but what are the rest doing?
Some of them are in college, some of them working. but they're not, doing anything like I'm doing to become being a mayor. But most of them, we have some of them are in college, some of them are actually just went out of high school
They
and went straight
want
to work.
to stay in Earl?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh. They do.
Saying. I mean, because last year, this time, you were on break for Christmas.
Hmm.
Take me through the conversations that you had that turned into, I'm going to run for mayor.
Well, based off the conversations, I was when I first initiated, I wanted to run for mayor. I was actually in a student government setting. I'm not sure what was we doing, but it was somewhat happened. It happened. It happened in the student government somewhere. I can't remember. And I was telling them that, no matter of fact, it was happening. We all had a conversation what we wanted to do when we got in high school and what we wanted to do in life. I was like, I want to be mayor. I want to be president of the United States. We just going down the line of what we wanted to do. And mayor came up, and I was like, and originally I was gonna go off to college 4 years, and I was gonna come back to be mayor. But God didn't want me to go off, then come back. He wanted me to do it now. He wanted me to step out there on faith and run for mayor now. And at the time, I didn't know what he was doing. I have no clue of what he wanted me to do, what he had in store for me. And as time went on, I realized he wanted me to get in this position for a reason, and a reason to make a difference in Earl, build Earl back up, and not only build Earl, but be an inspiration to other young people around the country that's trying to get in those positions like me that want to do great things. And so I'm very
What
grateful.
would you say to other 18-year-olds who may not know exactly what they want to be, but have gigantic dreams?
Well, what I would say to them, if you don't, you have to start with yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? And so having that mindset of I believe in me, it's going to help out a lot, because it's just like for me when I read, I had a lot of negative comments, negative uh, calls, different things like that. But whatever your heart desire you to do, I encourage you to do what your heart desire you to do, regardless of what people say, because you can do something good, and people still find something negative to say about it. And a lot of times, you don't have to entertain negative comments. Like with me, I use them as motivation to prove them wrong because I know the same people that's making negative comments will be in my face probably not the next day, but the next week for something. And so I'm the type of guy. If somebody say something negative to me, I use as motivation to keep me uplifted, keep me moving forward, because I know what God wanted me to be, and I
What
know what He created me to be, because He created all His people to be successful,
what's
but
something that
in a
someone
different
has
way.
said to you that's negative that you are now using as motivation? Let's shine the light on the devil for a minute.
Well, uh, well, of course, I'm too young. I just graduated high school. I don't know anything. Then also had some people say I'm still a baby. It's a lot of crazy comments, but those four things that people was telling me. But you know, and it's in the time now we're living in. It's not what I know; it's who I know to get in those positions. And it's good to have knowledge, but in this day and time, it's not about what we know; it's who we know to get things and get the betterment for not only for ourselves but for our communities and get in those positions, get in those
One of
places
the
that
things
we
that
can't
I've
get in.
seen, and I'm seeing this still today, that makes for a successful person who's looking to run anything, whether it be a business or a community or a school system or what have you, is that you have to have a system. Who is on your team to help you develop the systems that are necessary to replicate success?
Mhm. Um, See, with me, what I do, I have a group of team members I talk with. That's on the local level, state level, and some on the national level about things to get things that we need to be successful. And we're talking to those people. It's been amazing because they're very supportive because they want to see us do great. You have some that don't that don't want you to outshine them, but it's really not necessarily about outshining them. It's just about being
What
successful.
is something that someone has said to you positively moved you, made you want to do better?
Um, I hear it all the time. It's you got this. I believe in you. I know you can do it. And when they tell me that just move in a way, just keep pushing forward, keep pushing harder, because you don't hear that all the time. I believe in you. You got this, and I know you can do it. You don't hear that often. And so when I hear those comments, like people tell me that, and they don't even know me, but based off my uh character and my impression, they tell me that. Based off by the time if I have a conversation with a person, I don't even know them, because I talk to people I don't even know, and they just ask me about my story, and based off me telling my story, I get those three things. I believe in you. You
What
got this, and I know you can do it. Based off the
would you
conversation we had.
say to a parent of an ambitious seer, somebody who thinks it's their time to tell those of us with children who are your age? How should we respond to those bold statements of Generation Z?
Well, the parents want to be parents. They say, if somebody say something about their child, of course, parents want to get out there and we're going to reply to the comments. But the parents have to be like, will have to be in the area of, I need to keep them on track. I just need to keep them focused, regardless of what people are saying on Facebook or on social media. I got to keep him focused, because if he see me doing it, he gonna do that. He or she going to want to give up. And so we just keeping the parent, just keeping a positive mindset of keeping your child moving forward. Even though distractions are going to come, challenges are going to come, obstacles are going to come, but keep your child focused. Keep them focused regardless of what the negative comments coming, because they're going to come and they're going to go. Just keep them focused, because they see you interfering with that, they're going to do the same thing, or better yet, they want to give up. Because a lot of people don't. They can't take people talking about them. But again, it's just how life comes. You got to keep them focused, stay focused,
Did I hear you say
and
that
keep them
you
moving
were raised by
forward.
both your mother and father?
No, I was actually raised by a single mother
Village of people.
and
That's
a
the part
village
that
of
I didn't
people.
hear that part. Do you know your father?
Yeah. Yes, sir, I do. Um, as I was growing up, my father wasn't there like a father should have been. And, and as time come, I was a little mad, as I grew up, because regardless of what uh went on with my father or with my mother, regardless of father still supposed to be there for their
100%.
children, regardless of what happened. You know, and with my mind, because I think different. And so as I was growing up, I didn't know what was going on. But as I got into the area now, and I've thought about it, and just asked some questions, and regardless of what happened again, regardless of what happened between him and my mother, my father still was supposed to have been there for me, regardless of what happened
You
between
dead right.
him and her. I mean, because that's
Every
what
day.
fathers are supposed to be, and that was what are supposed to do. You know, and a lot of people didn't think I was going to be in the position I am now, because I didn't have a father figure. But I was blessed to be in a village of people that guided me, showed me a way. As a matter of fact, I actually worked at a funeral home 3 years ago. I started working in a funeral home, and this guy, the owner, he over the 3 years I've been working with him, he has been a father to me, because anything I need, he's there. Anything I like, he offer me different things, not just to
No, but
brag
give
on him.
it up
And he
to him
tell
though. No,
like
no, no. But
when I grew
but
up, I
Mayor,
was
give it
never
up to him
told the
because he
truth.
did. Because
Yeah,
let me just
yeah,
interrupt you here. Brag on him.
yeah,
Brag on him because this man took it
yes, sir.
upon himself to
Yeah,
carry you and to bring you like you are his own son, his own child, we gonna pause and he needs to get his flowers right now, right here.
Yes, sir. Most definitely does. Because when I was growing up, I never like when I did something wrong, I never had nobody to tell me the truth as far as of a father perspective. And so when I've been working with him, he always told me the truth. He never fake of anything. He always called me out on things. And over the 3 years, something like when I first started, he told me I got mad. And I'm like I never had anybody tell me the truth. But out of time now, he's telling me the truth to help me than to hurt me. And I'm very grateful for that. For what he have done in my life. He's been a big impact in my life. Anything I need, he gets it. I don't have to ask him anything. He still go buy it. I'm very grateful for him and what he have done in my life. But again, I wish my father could have been there for me as a father too, as I was growing up, because it's really hard. I mean, when you don't have a father, if you don't have, when you don't have a father or a mother in your life, it's more difficult for you because um, you want to have your mother, you want to have your father there, you want to have them there because
It is
those are key people to
exactly.
you. Those are the people that going to support you. Yeah, those are the people that going to support you in anything. Those people are going to support
You
you
would.
no matter what. And as me growing up, it really hurt me because my father wasn't there in my life like he should have been, regardless of what had happened. Again, and it just anybody that has this a father or anything like that, regardless of what the situation what the situation is,
Let me
be there
give you
for your
let me
child.
give you something
You
that
know.
from what you've said. You mentioned that when what's the brother's name who has been there like a father for you?
Oh, his
Brother
name his
Bouchard.
name is Ronald Broussard.
So Mr. Bouchard
Yeah.
checked you like a man checks a young man. If your ear has not been trained to being checked
Hmm.
by a man, then when you hear a man talk to a young man the way men
Hmm.
talk to young men, their own sons, it sounds almost offensive because in many cases your mother
Right.
doesn't speak to you like that. But a man is going to get at you like a man. A
Right.
man is going to talk to you like a man. And it's going to sound completely different. It may sound more aggressive.
Hmm.
It may sound very, very difficult to internalize. So kudos to you and him. And let me tell you why. Kudos to you for staying in the pocket and hearing it out and letting Brother Bashar do what he's been put here on this earth to do, which is to be there to support you in the way in which he's chosen to do so. But kudos to you as well to listen beyond the immaturity of many young men, because what happens with many young men is when a man checks them, they think, I don't have to listen to you. The first thing they say is, you ain't my father. Recognizes when they're saying that, what they're often doing is acknowledging that they don't have a father, because a father would have told them that when a man's checking you like that, what he's really doing, he's showing you love. He's trying to get you there. I say that as point one.
Right.
And then as point two, there are two ways to deal with an absent father. One is to bemoan the fact that they are not there. The other, to
Hmm.
acknowledge his absence and spend every single day that you have on this side of the dirt, him regret the decisions that he's made to
Yeah.
make himself scarce in your life. And so, having grown up, my father playing a meaningful or useful role in my life, I know what it's like to be in a place where I wanted to be able to call him about a girlfriend, or call him about something at school, or call him when somebody was giving me trouble, and that was not an option for me. And so as a result,
Hmm.
I've taken it upon myself, both in my professional and personal life, to do all I can to be there for young men. And when I see a young man like you, who has nothing but promise in front of him, what I want you to keep in mind is that you can only drive so fast looking backwards. What that
Yeah.
brother did or didn't do is, as you mentioned, whatever went on between him and your mother, that's between them. But as it relates to being there for you
Right.
at your campaign party, or when you were knocking on doors in the heat of the summer, sweating like nobody's business. He should have been there, but he wasn't. But he should have been there not so much for you, but for himself. Because I can tell you, as a father, there's nothing that feels
Right.
better. I'll let you in on something. My Netflix name is Mason and Walker's dad. Like, I'm proudest of being their father. Other stuff, running the schools, doing other stuff, that's dope. But what's really cool is being a dad. And one day you're going to experience that, and you're going to take from the experiences that you had, both with Brother Bashard and your own biological father, and you're going to be a better father than you could have ever had. So I want to encourage you, young brother, to keep pressing, keep pushing. We, as a community, are proud of you. Go ahead and build your little Wakanda down there in Earl. Do your thing like it's never been done before, so much so that when people look upon your work, they think ain't nobody ever done as good as this dude. So congratulations again, Mayor Smith. Do you have any parting words?
Thank you. No, sir.
So much.
Besides, thank you for having me on.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for taking the 10 minutes and turning it into 60. It's a real pleasure to have you this evening. Take good care of yourself.